Evolution forms the basis of what we understand about biodiversity on Earth, but also how we understand the origin of the human genome and the traits that we see in human physiology and human disease. Although often viewed as a side subject, the kind of subject you may or may not specially study in your biology coursework when studying prerequisites before med school, evolutionary biology is actually at the core of why humans function the way that they do. This is true from the general gross anatomy of humans. The fact that we have a spine, for example, that was originally adapted towards an arch-like configuration in quadrupedal mammals and was then later reverse adapted to upright bipedal locomotion. This becomes the basis for why so many adult humans, even in the absence of traumatic injury, experience back pain. It is part of the reason why it is so incredibly physically difficult to carry a pregnancy as a bipedal mammal when the lower back has an inversion in the shape of the curvature of the spine. Because instead of a pregnancy being carried beneath the supportive arch as it occurs in quadrupedal mammals, gravity is acting in a way that fundamentally destabilizes the double curved spine, specifically in humans. Our adaptive history is also visible in the very unique and odd ways that traits relate to each other. For example, we do not find that hormones appear in isolation. We find that in many cases, hormones are simply slightly modified renditions of other hormones. When we look at the way that digestive enzymes work, we see an enzyme like amylase that helps to break down complex carbohydrates into simple sugars. And initially, amylase looks like it was present in tissue, expressed in the pancreas, produced and injected into the intestines for the digestion of carbohydrates. But then, due to what is now known to be a common way to generate novel genetic information, amylase underwent a gene duplication. And now we have that second copy of amylase, only with a slight modification to the targeting region expressed in our salivary glands. And in doing so, evolution gave us the ability to get hooked on eating carbohydrates because now we can taste them as a sweet flavor. Evolution plays a huge role in why humans are among the only species, next to maybe guinea pigs and some bats, we are among the only species outside of the traditional mammalian way of producing vitamin C endogenously in our body to depend on dietary intake of vitamin C. As great apes, we have to get enough vitamin C rich foods, either greens or citrus, in order to not get a terrible disease like scurvy. But the evidence that our ancestors had the production capacity for endogenously produced vitamin C is still present in the vitamin C pseudogene in our genome, a pseudogene that we share with other great apes like chimpanzees, pointing us to a time in our ancestors' history when, in fact, we could produce vitamin C and lost that capability. If we don't understand evolutionary biology, our biology just doesn't make sense. But when we do, we have the superpower of being able to understand both why the body works and what happens when the body does not work. Evolution tells the story of how we got the traits that we got, and it is a history book that we see in our genome about the environment that made it hard for our ancestors to live and allowed the survival of a few. And when we pay attention to that story, we have insights into medicine and our own physiology that we would otherwise completely miss.